So there's a very large and new significant collaboration between MIT and MGH, agreed upon by the leadership of both institutes, looking at three strategic areas: improving diagnostics, improving neuroscience, neurotechnology, and also immunology, and looking at areas of how we get technology from the bench to the bedside and then back to the bench again. Well, there's been one round of call for proposals where both MIT and MGH have put forth money to get investigators from both places working together on a particular theme. So that's happened for the diagnostics thrust area so far. And actually just right now is the time where a second call for the diagnostics area is being put out. As part of that, I think one of the exciting things for companies in particular is, the intent is to get this out of the lab into the bed, but also to a product that is supported at the bedside. Is that the hope is that the mechanism that would lead to the next round of funding for any of these collaborative efforts that are deemed successful and that have actually some traction after this initial seed money put forth by both MIT and MGH, is now a company could come in and play and understand, well, here's this opportunity, bring a little bit of more of the business flavor and the market flavor to what this technology is addressing clinically, and turning it into now a project that can be done, potentially sponsored partially or in full by a company, but certainly getting a better exposure to what MIT and what MGH see as technical and clinical needs that we're addressing together, but at some point need to be translated and picked up by a company partner. And I think one of the, certainly in the framework of what we do in the Medical Electronics Device Realization Center, is that would be the time where we would now be working with companies to show with them our early results, the things that we're doing, and getting their perspective on what they would see as a market opportunity, and figuring out a way to collaborate together and moving that entity or that activity forward. So Boston is a pretty unique place to be doing medical device research. You have a phenomenal density of hospitals and medical professionals. You have a phenomenal density of universities, MIT and others. And you have an interesting ecosystem beyond the medical device space. So you have the professional capital, the VCs, as an example. You have a high density of pharma research, of biologic research, that's also in the biomedical realm. And so, in some sense, it's Boston's opportunity to lose to be the United States' premier center for medical device research and medical device realization, as I prefer to call it. Just given the proximity of MGH across the river, it's easy for my students, and I'd say half my students are half the time in the lab, and at least I think they're half the time over at MGH. But it's a quick bike ride over there, and we have a phenomenal density of doctors that aren't engineers, but they appreciate technology and the power of technology and are willing to work with us in figuring out how to get technology embedded in an appropriate way. So you would never want to be a technologist and develop technology and say, this solves the problem. It needs to fit into the workflow and to the constraints and the use model and the reimbursement model that only can really be articulated by the medical professionals. And so bringing those communities together is very exciting. And it allows us to do things that we couldn't do otherwise. Companies are starting to put their research, their medical device research in Boston. So Philips has recently announced that they're moving to Cambridge to be part of this ecosystem. Nihon Kohden has done so as well. That the density of medical device professionals, not even just companies, but the medical device professionals that are interested in contributing to the development of new technologies that address clinical needs in appropriate and cost-effective and reimbursable ways is, I think, Boston's world-class and certainly United States class in leading that effort.